of veterans. You served your country honorably once while you wore the cloth of our nation. We are asking you to wear it again proudly as a member of the American Legion of Oklahoma. The American Legion is part of the nation's largest and most influential network of veterans, families, and communities, from budget hearings to baseball diamonds, from combat outposts to children's hospitals. Together, we make a difference. The American Legion provides life-changing assistance and guidance for veterans, military personnel, their families, and communities in thousands of ways each and every day around the world. Help comes in the form of personal assistance, cash grants, donated goods, disaster relief, labor, networking, volunteerism, and advocacy. The American Legion is for God and country, but the American Legion is also for you. Please contact a local post today.
Hey, Tokelahoma, this is Tracy.
And Larry Reed, the man on weed. And here we are on the July 8th edition of Tokelahoma.
Yes, post July 4th weekend.
It was. How was your July 4th weekend?
It was good. I feel very free. I wish I was freer.
We had a tremendous afternoon out there at the Snoop Dogg show.
Yeah, how was that?
It was wonderful. There was very few people there. It was 3 miles past where the Google Maps said it was.
Really?
Typical Tokelahoma kind of stuff,
Yes.
like back in the woods, and it was an array of balloons that notified me I was at the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I met these guys from this thing called My Kush.
My gosh. Yes.
That mykush.tv, which is going to launch, I believe, on 7/10. And it was kind of interesting because we were there. It was July 4th, Independence Day.
Yes.
And
Snoop Dogg was in his red, white, and blue.
Yes, it was. It was so amazing. But these guys from My Kush TV, it's also a freedom platform to get away from the corporate, the Insta-faux shizzle, the face schnook, all that kind of stuff. And so it was pretty interesting to see how they're going to go about it. They're going to incorporate all the good stuff from all the other guys and put them into this one. And so if you'll keep your eyes peeled, we got some content going in the next couple of days for that.
We'll share it, watch it.
There you go. And we got a bunch of good stuff happening here also that while we're waiting for our guest. Tell us a little bit more.
We are waiting for Joe Lewis.
There we go.
He's running for House District in 2022. But this weekend we have the Canna Family Fishing Tournament. And we had Stephen Ross in on my show and Old School show in the past week. And what I like about this is it's just a small group of people. It's for the kids. It's for the families. There's a fishing tournament. There's games. There's food trucks. There's water. And the local community is helping out, too. Like, they're donating stuff, and it's cannabis friendly. And I think it's,
Well, not only that, Stephen Ross really fought for the ability to them accept cannabis.
Yes.
That it was part of it. We weren't just there to throw a party. It was we focused on the medical side of it. And he's gone to great extremes to make sure everybody is included there. So there's actually a pool there for people that can't go down the river that they can go and they can enjoy the water and things like that. And so shout out to, and Steven's not really an organizer of events, he's just some dude that
a dad, husband. It's actually him and his wife Jennifer's anniversary today, so happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary to y'all. It's like going down at the rapids, sometimes it's nice and smooth and sometimes it's really hellacious.
It just depends
so
if you want to hang with that person or not.
That's it. So I don't know if you can still get in on it. Go.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Check them out. It's the 9th to the 11th, right? I don't know what today's the 8th.
Yes.
So you still got tomorrow. There you go. Pack your stuff. Get out there. Go do it. They have a great cause. I forget who the recipient of the charitable donation is.
Oh, I just shared it. I think it's Andrew. It's a
Andrew
baby.
Is
it's
his
a little.
name.
It's a little boy.
Wow.
Yes. And that's the thing is everything's going to help another child. And we preach all the time that we want to take care of people, but they're really doing it. It's not for profit. It's for people.
It's patients over profits. It's people helping patients because Stephen and his daughter has afflictions too, right? And so he's going through that, and his daughter was a recipient of one of the charitable events that we had, the OG Cup out there.
And so now he's giving it back
And
to
so
someone else.
exactly, and so that's just Weeders helping Weeders. Just
Yes.
another example of it. People paying it forward out there, and
I love it.
it kicking back to good stuff. And then
Yes.
also over the weekend we've got the Chronic Palooza, which I think Johnny 2.0 might be on his way to grace us with his presence. But that's going on at Relax Park down there. You can go and get a patient recommendation. They're $25. There, hold that up to the cam over there, Tracy. They've got patient recommendations all weekend there. It's $25. You can always go over to Chronic Docs at www.chronicdocs.com, or you can call 866-405-9333 for Chronic Docs. And so that'll be a good time. There's a lot of good music down there. Sativa Prophets, one of my favorites out there. Taylor Morris, Epidemic Outrage.
Helicopter rides, belly dancers.
Helicopter ride, belly dancers.
Cannabis, because there is a dispensary on site.
Yeah. And you can medicate out there. It's a beautiful location down there. It's, again, the kind of gentrification. I can't say it's gentrification because it's not really. We're not throwing everybody out and doing what they've done in that park is just great. It was just a nasty old lot before, and they've resurrected it to be a place of beauty where people are going to meet and share some wonderful ideas and all that. So if you got some time, do that. If you got some time, go and smoke on the water.
Yes.
If you got some time, go visit Joe Lewis and his website there.
And I think he's here.
And he's here. And so we're going to take a quick break here. Thanks to Moto on the ones and twos, always holding it down out there. Why don't you lead us out of here, Tracy?
Peace.
All right.
Oklahoma veterans, you served your country honorably once while you wore the cloth of our nation. We are asking you to wear it again proudly as a member of the American Legion of Oklahoma. The American Legion is part of the nation's largest and most influential network of veterans, families, and communities, from budget hearings to baseball diamonds, from combat outposts to children's hospitals. Together, we make a difference. The American Legion provides life-changing assistance and guidance for veterans, military personnel, their families, and communities in thousands of ways each and every day around the world. Help comes in the form of personal assistance, cash grants, donated goods, disaster relief, labor, networking, volunteerism, and advocacy. The American Legion is for God and country, but the American Legion is also for you. Please contact a local post today.
Hey, Tokelahoma, we're back with Joe Lewis. Welcome to the bunker.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes. What's going on?
I mean, besides dealing with Cox, life's been pretty good.
Cox Cable, that is,
Yeah.
we're discussing here.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about who you are, Joe. Maybe not everybody knows what Joe's sitting here doing here, and kind of put you on the spot.
I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy. I grew up here in Oklahoma. I actually went to school in District 88 back in the 90s. I joined the Marines back in 2004, got out in 2008, went in the Army Guard for a few years.
In a sniper unit, I found out.
Well, I'm not a trained sniper, but I was a sniper team leader, if that makes any sense.
And we're here talking about you being, that's what I was worried, you're running for an office. That's where we'd love to have you here, but the purpose really is talk to you about the office, is just to give you a background why he's telling you about himself and all that, to put that in reference there for you. And so what was it that made you join the Marines? What was the...
Well, the funny thing was I was actually in college in Colorado and having a good time. Young kid, 20 years old, having a ball. And I remember having a party at my house and everybody's having fun and the news was on, and I'm watching, young people do something bigger than themselves, and I was like, the calling kind of, I'd always wanted to go into service, but I was like, you know what, I feel like this is, probably what my grandfather was feeling back in World War II. And so I just left college, showed back up home, and went off to the Marines. My mom was like, you are a lunatic, but that's what I wanted to do, and I did it, and I loved it. And, I think serving your country is something that no one can take from you. Not that I agree with how we did it or the end results or how all that ends up playing out. It ends up being a political game instead of like, let's actually go and solve the problems. But you're just a small piece in that puzzle. You don't really have the decision power. You just execute the mission of the the intended mission of your commanders. So
right, but now you're a Marine and a college graduate, because didn't you graduate from college?
Yeah, graduated from college a couple months ago with my military history degree. I love reading. I love history. And
so will you read all the bills?
Yeah. I mean, I won't sign anything that I haven't personally read. That is just irresponsible. I mean, that's how you get in these situations. Like, well, you signed it. Oh, that person's probably like, I don't even remember signing that because you didn't read it. Granted, on the federal level, they're handing you a 40,000 pages of nonsense when it could probably be limited to 10 pages. But that's just being irresponsible. You should probably read what you're going to sign. There is that abstain button you can just hit that says, hey, I don't have enough information. I'm going to have to circle back to you. And that's what I would do. I would never sign, because I don't want it to circle back on me, well, you did this and you don't have any clue what you did, because that's ridiculous.
You have integrity. Which,
that's one of the core values of a Marine.
Same as the Air Force. But here's the thing is, what you brought up is we have politicians who are career politicians in the Capitol right now, and you are a servant leader. And what we need more in the Capitol right now, especially in 2022, is a servant leader, because I had someone tell me that seniority in the Senate in D.C. is more important than principles, and that does not sit right with me. So...
I mean, my uncle worked in D.C. for 17 years, and we always like this phrase in our family is being a kamikaze politician. You come in for 6 years and you do some ruckus and you get out. Career politicians is career corruption. Yes. I mean, one, you either need to set some age limits. Why do we have guys that are 90 plus years old? You're telling me your brain functions fully at 90. I would beg to differ. Or term limits. Yes. That's how you solve this corruption. You probably do both of those. In case they come in older, it's like, look, you only get one term because you're going to push past the 60 plus, 65, whatever you want to make it.
All right. So 2022, you get elected in District 88, right? What is one thing that you want to get done, that you think you can get done?
Well, I'm going to be striving for lots of veterans issues. That is the big thing for me. Texas does a really good job of having a GI Bill set aside for their veterans outside of the federal GI Bill. Why we wouldn't be pushing these guys to get masters and doctorates and pushing them into the work field to be better instead of having all this, no direction. Like, let's set some direction. Let's set some policy. Let's show them the organizations that are out there that are beneficial. I'll tell you, ever since you've got me down to the Legion Hall, every vet I meet, I'm like, hey, you need to come, man. You can really find out resources, but those resources need to spread outside of those organizations too. They can't just hide in there, because young guys are stubborn. They don't want to get up early and go drink coffee at 7 in the morning. I mean, I'm an early riser, but not everybody is.
Our generation is at the point where they've served their country and they're tired and they don't want to go do it again. But we have to, because the generation before us is getting tired and they need us. They need us. They do.
Well, service doesn't end with your military service.
Correct.
Don't stand around and bitch about problems if you're not willing to go out there and execute missions to fix problems. You hear that a lot in the veteran community. Well, they'll whine and moan and bitch about things, but they're not willing to execute and make things better. That is your role, not as just a veteran, but as a person in society. If you see the homeless situation and you just, I'm not going to give money to that, or I'm not going to do this, or you're not going to go feed them, you're not going to go help clean, you're not going to, if you see trash on the side of the road, pick it up. Don't be a scumbag. This is where you live. This is your state, our country, and it is our role to make this place better. We have a lot of armchair quarterbacks, but we don't have a lot of people, willing to go do the work. And that's where we have to get off our butts and actually get out there and put some work in. I could sit and whine and moan and bitch about things all day long. And I used to be that way until you finally I need to actually do something, because nothing was getting better for me that way. And then once you start getting involved, your life starts to better. You start meeting people, they start pushing you in certain directions. You break the, you should always have friends that are not necessarily exactly like you, so you can kind of have framework in your brain that hey, I can kind of see where these people are coming from. Because if you only hang around one type of person, then you're just, you're only going one direction. And that's, not good for yourself.
I agree. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about our ruck we got coming up.
Yeah.
Empire Genetics is an advanced research program set forth under the 2018 Oklahoma Industrial Hemp Pilot Program, overseen by Northwestern Oklahoma State University. A lot of farmers reach out to us. They've heard about what we're doing and are interested and want to know what they've had growing on their land since they were kids. Oklahoma is very diverse in its weather system, and so these plants have adapted over the last several hundred years to withstand that. A lot of it was brought here by the U.S. Department of the Interior back as part of Hemp for Victory. Hemp for Victory was brought about with the loom of the coming World War. We knew that we were going to have to produce a very large amount of hemp to rig the ships for their sailing, for their ropes, for their anchors, also clothing, sailors' hats, our flags, everything was made from hemp. Marijuana wasn't made illegal until 1969. The USCSA classed marijuana in with other dangerous narcotics such as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines. The campaign to slander cannabis began back in the 20s, mainly with William Randolph Hearst and the paper mills. Then that transgressed into big oil. Later in the 30s and 40s, really gained steam. By late 1937, the Congress passed the Marijuana Tax Act, which grouped industrial hemp in with marijuana. After that, they gave the differentiated names hemp, marijuana. While farmers were still allowed to grow, taxes were raised so heavily that it made it difficult, especially for lower income farmers. In 1940, when Hemp for Victory came to Oklahoma, they actually used Oklahoma as a test plot. Several genetics were shipped in from all around the world to see what would grow best on American soil, since Oklahoma has such a diverse climate. And it's very hard to find a lot of documentation on that. We know there was a lot of places, obviously, that were involved, or we wouldn't be finding cannabis in every county in Oklahoma. Empire Genetics, sowing the seeds of the past to grow a better future for everyone. Visit us at hempiregenetics.com or on our social media pages at Empire Genetics.
Look back online, this ain't GTA. I need to know what's the ETA. I had to hustle, I don't know no easy way.
All right, Tokelahoma, we are back, and we are going to talk about this POW MIA ruck that we were having. What's going on with it, Joe?
Okay, wait, time out. You got a civilian here.
Okay.
That's let me just jump in here.
Yes.
You got and there you might be a civilian too out there, but you want to get involved. Tell us a little bit, what is a ruck?
Well, a ruck would be, in civilian terms, a backpack adventure.
We're going on a backpack adventure, yes.
With hazing and everything.
Oh,
just kidding.
So tell us a little bit more. You've got one coming up for the...
Yeah, so September 12th, Tracy and I have been working on this pretty tirelessly. It's a lot of more work. It's the first actual charity thing I've ever put together, and when you start doing it, you start really having a greater appreciation for what work goes into this.
Yes.
But essentially what it is we're going to meet early in the morning. It starts at 8, so that means you need to be there at 07:30. We'll, ruck around the District 88. We'll stop at the parks. We'll do a little PT, have a little fun. Continue walking. The Marines and the Army recruiting stations will be there. And
I'll try to get the Air Force.
It's as many people that want to be there. You know, it isn't this is the only type of person that can be there. Once we get back, we will be serving the community lunch, as well as ourselves. But
how are
leaders,
we providing this lunch? What
well,
do we need?
Funds always help.
Yes.
So we'll be doing hamburger, hot dogs, turkey burgers if that's your thing. You got to have something for everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
This will be a non-alcoholic event, so it'll be drinking water or Cokes if you drink that kind of stuff. And we'll just be generally engaging with the community, answering questions, tell them what we're about, tell them what we're trying to build, tell them about building bridges versus, throwing a match behind you and just burning it behind you. Might work well in warfare, but that methodology for political game, you need to be able to cross that bridge and bridge these gaps, because you got to face it, in Oklahoma, if you aren't willing to work with Republicans, then you are not willing to get anything done. That's just a fact. When it's 5-1, you have to be willing to work with them. And that is the mission. But as far as the ruck, we'll be engaging with the public. We'll have a guest speaker.
How many miles are we rucking?
That'd be about 8 miles.
8 miles of
8
rucking.
miles.
Well, easy day.
That's an easy day.
Easy day.
And is there an amount that I have to carry in my backpack if I decide to go? Or?
I would say 35 pounds plus water, but hey, if you want to have it a little lighter, no one's gonna be
in the state of
measuring.
Oklahoma, you can only carry 3 ounces. We were talking of weed, right? You can only carry 3 ounces at a time. So I'm going to need to put something else in there to get to that 35 pounds. And like, what other kind of things would you find in because this isn't actually military engagement, right? We're except mentally, really. Like, what else would you put in a pack that would create such a weight?
I would probably just put you a good 25-pound weight and just wrap it in, something fluffy that's not going to be smacking against your back. You want to equally distribute the weight down the center of your back.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. I mean, you can pack, your full battle rattle if you have all that stuff, but there's no guns or anything involved.
See, battle rattle again, the
Right.
civvy
and
in there.
we
In
are
going
to
to
have the American Legion riders, which they're on motorcycles. They're going to be following us around and showing our presence. And what it is POW MIA. That is prisoners of war missing in action, and that is a remembrance day every year, because we want to bring light to something that happens to our military service members. Mm-hmm. It continues to happen because people like to campaign on our issues. People like to campaign on military programs, but when it comes down to it, the veterans take care of veterans, and so we want to remember the people who really were struggling and bring together our veteran community and support Joe Louis, because you know what? I'm ready to have you at the Capitol.
I'm ready to be there for sure.
Yes.
We need to get in there and bring some actual logic into this place. And,
yes.
I'm not an extreme left or right guy. I'm a person that's approachable. Like, look, does it make sense?
Look, he's in the middle.
He is,
Right.
yeah.
It's
And
easy.
something that you brought up the other day is, your mom raised you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is one thing that you need to start talking about more, because that makes you very approachable and relatable. And a lot of moms raising boys, and a lot of men who were raised by moms, they're gonna be like, oh man, this guy isn't some guy with millions of dollars and all these acres,
not.
Right? He's a hardworking man.
No, I definitely don't come from any of that, So my mom had me at 15 years old. We lived a rough life. I mean, not the roughest. I'm not going to go out and say, oh, my life was horrible. I had a great mom. She worked hard. She never graduated high school. She just put her best foot forward and just, worked her butt off. And, we lived in that. which shocks me, behind Memorial Park, there is an old garage apartment off of, 36th and Western, just west, like middle, right behind Memorial Park. And we grew up in that single bedroom garage apartment. And people would be like, oh, it was horrible, man. Some of my greatest memories growing up there. I was raised by all kinds of people, Vietnam vets, bikers, good friends. I have a very diverse family, multicultural for sure. So I don't look at people like that. I've come from nothing, and I've just worked hard. You can do anything you want in America if you're just willing to work. And it's not like, oh, some college trust fund kid. I went to war to go to college. Right. My family couldn't afford to send me to college, and I could go on and on about how hard my mom worked, and walking to Corn Dog back when Shepherd Mall was a thing. I remember our car broke down. We had to walking home in the cold with my brother and my sister. It was an interesting life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's all those hard times that made like the Marine Corps kind of like, I wouldn't say easy, but it was kind of like, well, I've lived a rough life.
Right, exactly.
I know how hard it can be. So
At least I'm getting paid,
So where
right?
can we follow you? Like the election's not for a little while. We're going to have you on numerous times and all that, but just to start to follow you, we need to go to www.votejoelewis.com.
Yeah, and I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You can find me there. I post patriotic stuff. Good vibe stuff. I don't post a bunch of negative.
The district where the district we're talking about, it was 88. Is that what you said? It was
Yeah.
District 88, which is going to be around the streets of.
Be like just north of Midtown. It kind of covers a vast area actually. It goes up to like 36th and Walker, and then it kind of cuts down and then covers the west side of Classen all the way to like 44. It's a pretty big area. There's about 40,000 folk that live there, and we've been hitting the streets, getting after it. We've been not hitting it as hard because we've been working hard on this charity, and I am not a phone person, but I've become one.
Can anybody rock with you?
Anybody.
We want the community out,
The whole
yes,
community,
please.
come on out.
Yeah, this isn't just the district. Anybody.
Yeah. Or just military people.
That's the one thing that, I think some people get lost in politics. They're like, well, I represent this area. It's like, no, once you become a representative, you represent Oklahoma.
Right.
Like, you are making decisions for Oklahoma. Yes, you come from this district, and you can be pro those things of that district, but you are ultimately a representative of Oklahoma and need to make decisions like that.
Well, thanks for coming in, Joe.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was
Yes.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do
Joe's
the old
pleasure,
college
bud.
thing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All
Don't
right.
forget, vote Joe Lewis.
Yes.